As I told you guys in my last video, tensions have been running high and we don't exactly know what's going to happen next. And in a way that's kind of scary, but that is the current state of not only the NBA, but everything that's happening around us. I also told you guys in one of my earlier videos that one of the best things that we can currently do is not only remain aware, but also to be proactive, because while what's going on right now may have a minor impact on you, it could potentially have a major impact on somebody else. It's been kind of surreal to watch everything that's going on right now unravel before us, because the reality is that this is a historic event. This is history. At least in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen anything close to what's going on right now. So in my last video, I talked about the good instances that have came from what's going on right now. And there may be a lot more than you know. We're going to talk about that in this video. But some of the good instances that I want to talk about is that now we're starting to see more and more teams start to pay workers for the time that they're going to have to take off. We saw Mark Cuban doing it yesterday, or talking about doing it, and I think Cuban said that he may look for them to do some charity work or some volunteer work, which I still think is a really good gesture from Cuban. But now we're starting to see more teams, more players, and again, while it's dope, it's incredibly cool that the players are going out and doing this. I think they should not have to be the ones doing this, but again, that's not belittling what the players have done and are doing. Today, Zion wrote a lovely letter to the people of New Orleans and to the workers that work for the New Orleans Pelicans. I'll put it on the screen right now so you guys can go ahead and read that. And I have to say, my respect for Zion was already at the maximum level possible, but somehow, some way, Zion has amazed me yet again, and this time off the basketball floor. He's using his own salary to go out and pay a month's worth of wages for a lot of people. This is an incredibly big deal, and if you guys see any more instances like this, leave them down in the comments below so I can include these in my videos, because I want to also show you guys some positivity with everything that's going on right now. Now, with that being said, things have been getting really tough for the Utah Jazz. There have been more and more reports coming out that there could be a conflict going on in the locker room right now, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. But before we go any further, guys, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another Getlikecoop video, and that's facts. I'm trying to get to 200,000 subscribers so I can go full time and bring you guys daily content, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. So I've been seeing some talk of expansion teams down in the comments below, and the question naturally arises, what city do I think should have an expansion team? Now, I would absolutely love one in Austin, Texas, but honestly, Texas has enough teams. Just really like the city of Austin. But with that being said, I would really like Seattle to get another team, and I want to know what cities you guys would like to see teams in down in the comments below. The Supersonics were so fun and good for the game of basketball. It's kind of absurd to me that they don't have any team. With that being said, though, there were a lot of Sonics fans that wanted to take the Hornets from New Orleans when they were up for sale, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I still think the Supersonics would be great for the NBA. And imagine losing Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and then James Harden coming to town. I mean, it would just be really tough. Now, with that being said, a lot of people have been suggesting that I do 2K videos, or I start uploading some 2K. Now, what I am going to be doing is streaming, and I'm going to put my Twitch on the screen right now. So be sure to follow me on Twitch /Getlikecoop, twitch.tv/Getlikecoop. I'm a lot nicer at 2K than you guys might think. Okay, so let's talk about the Utah Jazz and this whole situation. It's unreal how this whole thing has been unraveling. Let's go back a few days to around the time everything started. So we have Rudy Gobert, right? Rudy Gobert, nice guy, good player, great player. of the game of basketball. I mean, Rudy Gobert is really good. A lot of people, they don't want to give him his credit because he's mainly a defensive center, but the impact that he has defensively is unreal for the Utah Jazz. And we've seen the Jazz without Gobert, and we've seen them with him, and they're much better when he plays at a high level, and his impact goes far beyond the box score. But that's the thing, this is far beyond the game of basketball. I'm not quite sure I've seen any instance like this in NBA history. So Rudy Gobert starts feeling ill, and he starts joking around about possibly feeling ill or possibly having the illness. Not the best way to go about things, you would think. Fast forward to the Jazz Thunder game. The game kind of stalls out before the game even starts. Everybody is confused. The fans are completely confused. To quote an article, the Utah Jazz and OKC Thunder were minutes away from tip-off when a health official ran onto the Chesapeake Arena court to inform officials that Gobert was being tested and in fact did come back with a positive test. Now this is the part where pandemonium breaks loose, because at this point nobody really knows how to react, and then everybody looks back at Gobert's jokes about the whole situation, and those jokes, while they weren't necessarily funny at the time, they become really serious. At this point, the rest of the Jazz team has to get tested. Mitchell comes back with a positive test, and Gobert, he publicly apologizes for his careless behavior in the days before the diagnosis, which included touching the digital recorders of reporters who had placed them in front of Gobert after an interview and reportedly making light of the issue in the locker room. The report is that Mitchell is extremely frustrated with Gobert. League sources told SI in an Instagram post. Mitchell said, "Hopefully, people can continue to educate themselves and realize that they need to behave responsibly, both for their own health and for the well-being of those around them." How Mitchell responds when play resumes could make or break their relationship. Sources familiar with the locker room dynamic told SI.com. Now, Woj has been covering this whole situation very closely. Recently, Woj reported the Jazz are fortunate that they don't have to get back together and play games right now. There's a rift, not only in the relationship between Gobert and Mitchell, but with others in the locker room. There's a lot of frustration with Gobert, and while he certainly was apologetic today, it'll be a test. In Utah, there is fantastic leadership, and there is some hope that everything will be able to return to normal. But ultimately, this is going to be a test of how strong the Jazz are in their relationship. Now, we've seen feuds between players and, players disagree over things, but again, I'm not sure we've ever seen anything quite as serious as this. A lot of times these feuds, they blow over, and that's the thing. Is this just going to be something that blows over? I'm not sure. The Jazz have a fantastic team, and their roster is really good. Before any of this happened, nobody was really talking about them as contenders, but they are as big of a threat as almost anybody, excluding 3 or 4 teams in the Western Conference. And honestly, at least in the West, as long as you take out the Lakers and the Clippers, you could really say this team is just as big of a threat as anybody, like I just said. I think Gobert made an honest mistake, but there is some good to come out of the situation, because it forces everybody else to take this much more seriously. I think a lot of people, they didn't take the entire thing seriously until they saw leagues being canceled. I talked about this with my friends the other day, and they said their parents, they didn't really take this seriously until the NBA got canceled, until all of these events start getting canceled, things start closing down, and then things start to get real and people start to open their eyes. There have been articles calling Rudy Gobert an accidental hero, and I think the league absolutely did the right thing, being proactive in canceling everything. The 30-day suspension of basketball, while we may not like it, it's what we need right now to help prevent the spread of everything that's going on. While the league will not be fining or suspending Gobert, they do want to use Gobert to help develop a PSA to combat the illness. I think Barkley had a really good statement regarding the whole Gobert situation. He said, I want to give my best to Rudy. I know people are piling on. He made an honest mistake. When you're an NBA player, that's the best thing about playing. You just screw around with your teammates. I know he feels awful, and I just want to give him my best. That comes from a really deep place, and I honestly hope Charles Barkley, not only Barkley, but everybody who has been struggling with this is doing better and starts to feel better. With that being said, I'm open to any content ideas you guys have. There was some really good suggestions in my last video. I'll talk about those in my next video. I'm going to try my best to keep you guys updated and entertained. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now, guys. You won't want to miss it. Incredibly dope. Be sure to subscribe. Notice I'm Getlikecoop and I'm out.